Jordan right steps off the subway into the crisp morning air, adjusting the worn Yankees cap pulled low over his face. His black hoodie and jeans blend him into the rush hour crowd. Just another commuter heading to work. But today isn't just another day. Today, he's walking into his own company incognito, Wright Enterprises. His name is on the building, but no one knows his face, not the way they should. He built this company from the ground up, but years of board meetings and international deals have kept him at arm's length from the people who keep the engine running. That changes now. The office lobby hums with routine. Receptionists greet employees with polite nods. The scent of burnt coffee lingers from the break room. Jordan moves past the security desk, flashing a visitor's badge under a false name. Just another applicant coming in for an interview. His eyes scan the room. The workforce is diverse, but the power structure is clear. The executives, mostly white, stroll in confidently, exchanging pleasantries. The black and brown employees move differently, heads down, voices softer, as if careful not to take up too much space. Jordan takes the elevator up, observing, listening. Snippets of conversation reach him. Chatter about weekend plans, a manager's loud voice reprimanding someone for a minor mistake. The tension is subtle but present, threading through the air like an unspoken rule. Then, as he steps onto the marketing floor, something stops him cold. A muffled sob. It's faint, barely audible over clacking keyboards and ringing phones. But it's there. He follows the sound, weaving through cubicles until he sees her. A young black woman, her head down, hands gripping the edge of her desk. Tears streak down her cheeks as she stares at an email on her screen. No one notices. Or maybe no one cares. Jordan's jaw tightens. He doesn't know her, but he knows this moment. He's seen it before, felt it before. The isolation, the quiet suffocation of workplace politics, of being dismissed, overlooked, or worse. He takes a slow breath, forcing himself to stay in character. Not yet. He needs to see what's really going on before he steps in. He steps back into the shadows and watches. And waits. Jordan lingers near the break room, sipping the bitter office coffee as he watches the floor. The young woman from earlier, her nameplate reads Maya Thompson, wipes her face quickly and straightens in her chair, her fingers trembling over the keyboard. She's trying to pull herself together. But something is off. His gut tells him this isn't just a bad morning. A sharp voice slices through the air. Maya, my office. Now. Jordan turns, and there he is, Ethan Carter, Vice President of Marketing, a tall, clean-cut man in his 40s, dressed in a designer suit, the kind of guy who walks like he owns every room he steps into. His smile is practiced, his voice polished, but there's a sharpness in his eyes, a quiet arrogance that sets Jordan's teeth on edge. Maya doesn't answer right away. She hesitates, as if bracing for impact. I said now. Ethan's voice drops, colder this time. Maya stands quickly, eyes down, and follows him. The door to his office clicks shut behind them. Jordan moves closer. Through the glass wall, he sees Ethan talking. No, lecturing Maya, his hands moving in sharp, dismissive gestures. Maya barely speaks. She nods, shoulders tense, back stiff. A reprimand, maybe worse. Jordan's instincts scream that this isn't an isolated incident. Minutes later, Maya walks out, her face carefully blank, but her hands are clenched into fists. She heads straight for the break room, disappearing inside. Jordan follows. She stands by the sink, gripping the counter, eyes shut tight. You okay? He asks, keeping his voice casual. She startles, turning quickly. Oh, I'm fine, she lies. Jordan doesn't buy it. That didn't sound fine. She exhales sharply, shaking her head. Just work stuff. She forces a weak smile, but her eyes betray her. Fear, frustration, defeat. Jordan leans against the counter. You sure? Because I know that tone he used. Sounded more personal than professional. Maya stiffens. That reaction says everything. Before she can answer, the break room door swings open. "Ethan." He stops when he sees Jordan. His blue eyes scan him quickly, assessing, judging. Jordan feels the weight of it immediately. The flicker of something in Ethan's gaze. Disdain, suspicion. Ethan ignores him and turns to Maya. "I need that report by noon. No excuses." His tone is laced with condescension. Maya nods, mumbling, "Yes, sir." Jordan watches her, the way her shoulders curl inward, the way she avoids eye contact. Ethan takes a step back, his attention flicking to Jordan. "And you are?" Jordan smiles, extending a hand. "New guy, interviewing today." Ethan doesn't take the handshake, just gives a tight smirk. Dismissive. "Good luck with that," he says flatly before walking out. Jordan watches him go. Yeah, something's definitely wrong here. Jordan spends the next few hours blending in, slipping between departments, listening. He watches Maya, watches how her coworkers interact with her, or rather, how they don't. Conversations pause when she enters the room. Eyes flick away when she speaks. Even the interns, usually eager to impress, hesitate to align themselves with her. And Ethan? Ethan moves through the office like a king surveying his court, joking with his fellow executives, barking orders at subordinates. But when he talks to Maya, something changes. His voice drops, his words tighten. His smiles disappear. Jordan hears it again and again, the tone. Dismissive, undermining. Not outright hostility, but something more insidious. Contempt. Then comes a moment that cements everything. Maya returns to her desk, shoulder stiff, eyes scanning her screen. Then suddenly, no. Her hands fly to her keyboard, clicking frantically. Jordan moves closer. Her face has gone pale. "What happened?" he asks. Maya barely hears him, her breath coming in sharp bursts. He deleted it. My report, the one I spent all weekend on. Jordan's stomach tightens. "Ethan." A beat later, an email notification pops up on Maya's screen. From Ethan. "As I suspected, you failed to deliver. This level of incompetence will not be tolerated. Report to my office immediately." Jordan sees the way her hands tremble as she reaches for her mouse. The way her eyes glass over, her breathing shallow. This isn't just office politics. This is targeted. Jordan exhales slowly. "Maya, did he do this before?" She hesitates. Then finally she whispers, "Yes." That's all he needs to hear. Jordan doesn't knock when he enters Ethan's office. Ethan looks up from his desk, eyebrows lifting in mock surprise. "Can I help you?" Jordan leans against the doorframe, arms crossed. "You deleted Maya's report." Ethan blinks. Then he chuckles. "Excuse me? You heard me. You wiped her work, then sent an email blaming her for it." Ethan leans back in his chair, smirking. "And you are?" "Someone who knows exactly what you're doing." A pause. Then Ethan sighs, shaking his head. "Listen, I don't know what she's told you, but Maya is..." He stops, choosing his words carefully. "Difficult. Unfocused. She's been struggling for months. If she told you some sob story, I'd take it with a grain of salt." Jordan clenches his jaw. "Right. And I suppose that's why she's the only black woman in your department, and somehow the only one having these issues." Ethan's smirk falters for a fraction of a second. Then he leans forward, lacing his fingers together. "Look, I don't have time for this. Maya is not cut out for this role. She got here through a diversity hire program, and frankly, it shows." Jordan's vision goes red for a moment. There it is, the mask slipping. Ethan sighs, feigning exhaustion. If she's so unhappy, she's welcome to leave. No one's forcing her to stay. Jordan's fists curl. "You're right about one thing," he says evenly. "No one's forcing her to stay. But you're about to wish you left a long time ago." Ethan scoffs. "Is that a threat?" Jordan smiles. "Not a threat. A promise." Jordan heads straight to IT. He finds a young man at his desk, typing away, earbuds in. His nameplate reads Daniel Park, Cybersecurity. Jordan pulls out a chair. Daniel, quick question. Daniel blinks up at him. Do I know you? Nope, but I need your help. Jordan lowers his voice. Is there any way to check if someone tampered with a file? Deleted something from another employee's system? Daniel tilts his head, intrigued. Technically, yes. Admin logs track file activity, but you need clearance to access them. Jordan grins. Perfect. Daniel frowns. I can't just give you that. I'd need authorization from. Jordan pulls out his phone, tapping quickly. Then he slides it across the desk. Daniel picks it up, reads a message, a direct order from the CEO himself. His eyes widen. Wait, are you saying? Jordan holds up a finger. Sure. Daniel exhales sharply, then turns to his monitor. Okay, let's see what we find. Seconds later, Daniel's expression shifts. Holy dude, someone wiped a file from Maya's account this morning, but not just deleted. It was overwritten to make it unrecoverable. Jordan's jaw tightens. Can you trace who did it? Daniel clicks, then nods. Yep, Ethan Carter. Jordan grins. Checkmate. The next step is clear. Jordan gathers his allies, Maya, Daniel, and a few others who've seen Ethan's behavior firsthand. He tells them the plan. By the time they're done, the office is humming with quiet tension. People sense a storm coming. And at the center of it, Ethan Carter, still sitting in his office, smug and oblivious. He has no idea that in less than an hour, his entire world is about to collapse. The office is too quiet. Jordan feels at the moment he steps onto the floor. A charged silence, a pause in the rhythm of ringing phones, and keyboard clicks. Word spreads fast in places like this. People sense when something is about to go down. He strides past the cubicles, Maya at his side. She's nervous. He can see it in her stiff posture, the way she clutches her notebook like a shield. But there's something else now. Resolve. Ethan Carter's office looms ahead, his glass walls giving him a perfect view of the workspace, his kingdom. Inside, Ethan leans back in his chair, casually flipping through documents like he has all the time in the world. He glances up as Jordan enters, his lips curling into a smirk. Ah, you again. Jordan closes the door behind him, hands in his pockets. Me again. Ethan gestures lazily. Unless you're here to apply for an actual job, I don't see what we have to talk about. Jordan chuckles. Oh, we have plenty to talk about. He tilts his head, like the file you deleted from Maya's computer. Ethan's smirk doesn't falter. I don't know what you're talking about. Jordan steps forward. See, I had a nice chat with IT. Turns out, every file action in this company is logged. Who accesses it? Who deletes it? He leans in. Who tampered with it? For a split second, there's a flicker of something in Ethan's eyes. Then he laughs. Let me get this straight. You think I, one of the company's vice presidents, wasted my time messing with some low-level employee's report? He shakes his head. That's ridiculous. Jordan shrugs. That's what I thought too, until IT pulled the records. Guess whose admin credentials were used? Ethan's jaw tightens, but his smile stays. This is nonsense. If Maya can't handle the workload, that's her problem. And frankly, I don't appreciate whatever stunt you're pulling here. Jordan nods. Fair enough. Let's take it to HR. I'm sure they'll be interested in hearing about the diversity hire comments too. Ethan's eyes darken. Watch yourself. Jordan doesn't flinch. Or what? You'll delete my files too. Ethan's fingers tap against his desk. His confidence hasn't cracked. Not yet, but Jordan can feel the shift. He's calculating, weighing his next move. Then Ethan sighs dramatically, standing up. All right, let's cut the crap. He straightens his tie, stepping around the desk until he's inches from Jordan. You don't belong here, he says quietly. I don't know who put you up to this, but whatever little power trip you think you're on, it ends now. Jordan holds his gaze, waiting. Ethan leans in. You're nothing, kid. A temp, a nobody. And when I tell security to escort you out, that's exactly what's going to happen. He steps back, crosses his arms. Now, get out of my office. Silence. Jordan lets the moment stretch, then sighs, shaking his head. Damn, he says. You really don't recognize me, do you? Ethan frowns. What? Jordan slowly reaches up and pulls off his Yankees cap. The shift is immediate. Ethan's confident expression flickers, just for a second, but it's enough. His eyes widen, lips parting slightly. The color drains from his face. Jordan lets the silence settle before he speaks. Jordan Wright, CEO of Wright Enterprises. Ethan doesn't move. The smirk is gone. Jordan tilts his head. Still want to call security? The office outside is dead silent. People are watching now, eyes peeking over cubicle walls, pretending not to eavesdrop. Ethan finally speaks, voice hoarse. This is a joke. Jordan pulls out his phone and taps the screen. A moment later, a video plays. Ethan's voice, clear as day. She got here through a diversity hire program, and frankly, it shows. Maya inhales sharply. Around the office, heads turn, murmurs ripple through the room. Ethan's face is frozen in horror. Jordan lowers the phone. Not such a joke now, huh? For the first time since Jordan walked into this building, Ethan Carter looks afraid. It's subtle at first, the clench of his jaw, the quick glance toward the glass walls, where employees pretend not to watch. But Jordan sees it. The office is silent, waiting. Ethan forces a laugh, but it's tight, forced. All right, he says, straightening his tie. You had your fun. But let's be real here. You can't just walk in and throw around accusations. You have no real proof of anything. Jordan lifts an eyebrow. No real proof. He taps his phone again. The voice recording plays on speaker. She got here through a diversity hire program, and frankly, it shows. The words echo through the office. Heads turn. Some employees gasp. Others exchange knowing glances. Ethan's face darkens. This is ridiculous. He snaps. That could be edited. Except it's not. A new voice cuts in. Maya steps forward. She's still nervous, but there's steel in her voice now. She's done being afraid. Ethan, she says evenly, this is the same way you've been talking to me for months. Dismissing me, undermining me, deleting my work. She turns, gesturing toward the office. How many of you have seen it? Silence. Then one hand goes up, then another. A moment later, half the office raises their hands. Jordan glances at Ethan, watching the panic start to set in. This is absurd. Ethan barks. They're just trying to make me look bad. Then maybe you shouldn't have made it so easy. Jordan steps aside as Daniel from IT walks in, holding a laptop. He nods to Jordan before setting the laptop on Ethan's desk. I pulled the system logs. Daniel announces, it confirms Ethan uses admin access to delete Maya's report. And not just delete, override, meaning he made sure it couldn't be recovered. Maya inhales sharply. I knew it. Ethan takes a step back. You had no right to. Actually, I did, Daniel interrupts. Per company policy, any evidence of data tampering is automatically flagged for executive review. He looks up, which means this is already in the CEO's inbox. Ethan freezes. The blood drains from his face. Jordan watches the realization hit him like a freight train. He's been caught. Ethan turns back to Jordan, voice lower, desperate. Okay, look, maybe I overstepped. Maybe things got out of hand. But there's no reason to make a big deal out of this. He forces a weak smile. We can fix this. I can fix this. Jordan just stares at him. Ethan's smile fades. He swallows. Then his last gamble. He steps closer, lowering his voice. Listen, I know who you are now, and I get it. You want to make a statement. Show everyone who's in charge. But think about what this does to the company's reputation, to your reputation. A public scandal? It's bad for everyone. Jordan tilts his head. You try and negotiate with me? I'm trying to be reasonable. Ethan says quickly, you're a businessman. You know how this works. You take care of me, and I'll make sure you get whatever you need. Jordan smirks. You offer me a bribe? Ethan stiffens. I'm offering a compromise. Jordan exhales, shaking his head. You really don't get it, do you? Ethan frowns. Jordan leans in slightly. I don't need anything from you. Ethan blinks. Jordan straightens, glancing at the office beyond the glass walls. Every employee is watching now, waiting for the verdict. So Jordan makes it official. He pulls out his phone and dials. A few rings. Then, the company's head of HR picks up. "Hey, it's Jordan, right?" he says smoothly. "I need you in Ethan Carter's office. Now." Ethan stares. "Wait." Jordan raises a hand. "Oh, and bring security." Ethan's eyes go wide. No, wait. Too late. A few agonizing minutes later, two security officers and a senior HR rep step into the office. Ethan tries to argue, tries to protest, but the evidence is overwhelming. He begs. Then he threatens. Neither works. In the end, it's security who escort him out, his face pale, his hands shaking. Employees part like water as he walks past, their silence heavier than any words. Jordan watches from the doorway. This isn't just termination. This is a public fall from grace. Ethan Carter came in this morning thinking he was untouchable. Now, he doesn't even have a job. Ethan Carter is gone. Security walked him out through the main entrance, where whispers followed him like a shadow. Some employees stared in shock. Others muttered under their breath. A few even smirked. No one stopped him. No one defended him. And just like that, the self-proclaimed king of the office was nothing more than a disgraced former employee. Jordan watches from the top floor, arms crossed. The weight of the moment settles in, not just for him, but for Maya, for Daniel, for every employee who'd been too afraid to speak up before today. The silence that once protected Ethan is broken now. The emails start pouring, and almost immediately, HR sends out an official notice. Ethan Carter has been terminated, effective immediately, for misconduct and ethical violations. By the end of the day, news spreads beyond the office. Industry insiders get wind of what happened. The whispers turn into headlines. Senior VP fired for discrimination and tampering with company data. Fortune 500 exec faces backlash for racist workplace practices. Recruiters blacklist him. Board members distance themselves. By the next morning, Ethan Carter is unemployable, reclaiming peace. Jordan stays late, letting the adrenaline wear off. The office feels different now, lighter, freer. Maya knocks on his door, peeking inside. "You heading out?" Jordan asks. She hesitates. Then, "I just wanted to say thank you." Jordan gestures to the chair across from him. "Take a seat." She does, folding her hands in her lap. "I don't think you realize how much this means. To me, to everyone here." Jordan leans forward. "Why didn't you quit?" Maya exhales. "I thought about it. A lot. But I didn't want to let him win." She glances around. "I worked hard to get here. And I knew if I left, he'd just do the same thing to the next person who looked like me." Jordan nods, respect growing in his eyes. "You know," he says, "when I built this company, I promised myself it wouldn't be like the others. That talent, real talent, would always rise, no matter what they look like." Maya smiles. "Well, looks like you kept that promise." Community reflection. By the end of the week, the office feels like a different place. Employees who once kept their heads down start speaking up. Conversations that used to happen in whispers now happen out in the open. One afternoon, an older employee, Greg, stops Jordan in the hallway. "Listen," Greg says, shifting awkwardly. I heard the recording. And I gotta be honest, I've let guys like Ethan slide before. Thought it wasn't my business." Jordan waits. Greg exhales. "I was wrong." A beat of silence. Then Jordan claps him on the shoulder. "Took a lot to say that." Greg nods. "Took a lot more to do what you did." The final moment. A week later, Jordan finds himself back where this all started. The lobby, the same spot where he had walked in, as a stranger, where Ethan had looked him in the eye and dismissed him without a second thought. Now, Jordan owns this space. He adjusts his suit, nods at a receptionist, who, this time, meets his gaze with respect, not skepticism. As he steps outside, the city hums around him. People rush to work, Cars honk. The world keeps spinning. But something is different. He changed something today. Not just for himself. For everyone who ever sat at a desk, did the work, and still got told they weren't good enough. Today, justice wasn't just served. It was claimed,